Hey guys, you already know who it is, Rich Fingerlin here, aka Bob Adams, and sorry if I look a little cracked out. I didn't get a lot of sleep yesterday, so I probably will be slurring a lot more than I already do. Today we're going to be learning special moves, special canceling, EX special moves, and their properties and applications. Now, if you don't know what a special move is, you've probably been living under a rock, because even if you met a person that's never played a game of Street Fighter in their entire life, they know what the Hadouken is and the Shoryuken because they've been practicing in the backyard since they were little kids. That's how culturally significant these Street Fighter special moves are. I also think that it's really interesting that each character's special moveset is unique and it reflects on their personality and fighting style within the Street Fighter lore itself. Now, special canceling basically means that it cancels the current animation of your normal into the animation of your special move, allowing you to combo into it. And you must input the motion of the special move before your normal move ends, or it will not combo. EX special moves are activated by pressing two of the same buttons of that special move input. And you'll know that your character is doing EX special move because they will momentarily flash yellow. Now, EX moves are not free, they actually require a bar of super meter in order to execute. And today we'll be covering some of the properties and perks that come along with using EX special moves. Now, I can't cover every single special move in the game, okay? Or we're gonna be here all freaking day. Instead, I'm gonna be covering the different varieties of special moves and their different possible applications. And maybe some tips and tricks that you may have not known about your character. And if I miss your character, please don't get offended, okay? I just can't cover every single special move in the game. But if you have any questions, again, feel free to leave them down in the comments. And if there's enough interest, I'll be willing to do a character-specific tutorial. But other than that, let's get started. Now, Ryu's Hadokens and Fireballs have differing speeds depending on which button that you use. Use this to vary up the speeds of your Fireball to become less predictable. Now the EX Fireball, Red Fireball, or Sakudensu has faster startup and faster recovery. It hits twice and it also knocks your opponent down, allowing you to get in on them. Now, Ryu's Shoryukens, or Dragon Punches, you may have also heard them being referred to as DPs, have differing damage outputs and different recoveries depending on the button that's being used. It also has varying invincibility. And if you do not fully understand what invincibility actually is, we will be discussing invincibility further in a future video. But in a nutshell, it basically means that you are impervious to damage for about a fraction of a second. Now, the light one hits once, and the heavy also hits once, but the medium hits 2 times, like that. So it's useful for breaking a focus attack like this. And if you don't know what focus attack is, then we will also be covering that in the future video. Now, the EX Shoryuken has extended invincibility, it actually has a boatload of invincibility, and it hits twice. And it does a good amount of damage as well. And all versions of the Shoryuken knock your opponent down. So the next move in Ryu's moveset is the Tatsumaki Senpukyaku, or the Hurricane Kick. And a little fun knowledge, the way that the Japanese pronounce Hurricane Kick, Tatsumaki Senpukyaku, is just like short slang, just like English, you would say like what's up instead of what is going on in your life right now. It's the exact same thing. But anyways, Ryu will travel different distances depending on the button that you press. And hitting your opponent will send them flying away from you, and it's useful for getting out of the corner or some sticky situations. Or you just want a little breathing room. And the light one will give you a little breathing room because you're a little farther away from them, and the heavy one will put you right next to your opponent when you recover. so allowing you for a setup. You also have an airborne Tatsu that you can use to mix up your opponent or hit them from behind like that. But let's move on to the EX Hurricane Kick. Basically, the EX Tatsumaki will turn Ryu into a stationary whirlwind of destruction, and it will also do a healthy amount of damage while sending your opponent flying across the room. And this really sends a message to your opponent to get the fuck off. You know what I'm saying? And all versions of the Tatsumaki will knock your opponent down. And just a very quick important note, the Tatsumaki will go over or whiff across any crouching opponent. So you can't just throw this out from full screen, or your opponent can punish you very hard when you miss. Now the next character I'm going to show you is Ken, because Ken has pretty much the same moveset as Ryu, but despite that, his special moves differ from Ryu because they have different playstyles. Ken is a much more in-your-face, rush-down character. Ryu is much more of a zoning, get-away-from-me type of character, and this will ultimately affect your playstyle. So, like his Hadouken here, pretty much is the same as Ryu, except it has it starts up just like a little bit slower, like minutely, like pretty much no difference at all. But his EX Hadouken hits twice, but it does not knock down his opponent like this. So since it doesn't knock down your opponent, you can't, just go recklessly rushing in at your opponent because they're still standing. Now Ken's Shoryukens have similar properties, but do a little bit more damage than Ryu's. Like his medium hits twice as well, but his heavy hits 3 times. But the first one leaves the opponent on the ground, allowing for more damage and pressure. And if you don't know what I just did, that was a focus attack dash cancel, and we're not going to be doing any of that in this video. We're going to be discussing focus attack dash cancels in a future video. But moving on to the EX Shoryuken, the EX Shoryuken has a really good chunk of invincibility, and it does 4 hits. And it is the most damaging of all of the uppercuts, including Akuma's and Evil Ryu's. Now, Ken's Tatsu is pretty similar to Ryu's, but they cannot be any more different. Same thing, travels the distance depending on which button that you press, but it does not knock down your opponent when you are finished, as you can see. But this allows Ken to be right next to his opponent for another setup. Now, Ken's EX Hurricane Kick does a lot of damage. It's probably Ken's most important tool when it comes to his mix-up game, because it leaves Ken at an advantage because it recovers so quickly, so Ken can just keep continuing the pressure without having to worry about being punished when he finishes his move. And then you're gonna get someone like this, a dizzy, and then it's over. So, Ken also has an airborne Tatsu that leaves his opponent standing next to him, so he can combo into some special moves or normals when he lands it. And also, Ken's EX airborne Tatsu is probably his most important tool because it allows him to get in very quickly on his opponent. You're pretty much right next to your opponent before you know it. And it recovers very quickly. You can pretty much combo into anything you want to. As a matter of fact, it recovers so quickly that you can combo into some pretty devastating stuff. So Another type of move that I'll be demonstrating is the special move that requires you to rapidly input the same type of button like Chun-Li's lightning legs or Haretsukiku. Or Honda's 1000 hands. Now, these moves will come out after 5 inputs of the same button, but the type of move that will come out depends on the very last button that you press. Now, some special moves require you to charge them in a certain direction before you can use them, such as Guile's Sonic Boom and Flash Kick. But a good rule of thumb is to hold down back because it charges in both directions, down and up, while you are stationary, allowing you to charge for both the Sonic Boom and the Flash Kick. And if you're wondering how long it takes for something to charge, for me the rule of thumb is usually 1 Mississippi. I just go like, there go 1 Mississippi, 1 Mississippi, 1 Mississippi. Usually the charge is ready to go, but just remember, charge varies from different characters and different moves, so that you should definitely keep in mind. Do your research. Now Fei Long here has a special move that must be inputted 3 times in a row or in a sequence right after another, and these moves are commonly referred to as Rekkas. And the reason they're called Rekkas is because Fei Long's 3-punch move is called the Rekkakin. Now, there's some special moves that only require you to input 3 punches or 3 kicks, like Zangief's Lariat. And while we're on Zangief, we can discuss the 360 input motion that's required for grapplers. Now, the game has some leniency with the 360 motion, because when you do a 360 motion, you tend to jump upwards, so it's more around 720 rather than 360. There's also other special moves that can be charged and held, like El Fuerte's Quesadilla Bomb. But you can move around and do other things while it's charging and release the button when your opponent least expects it. Juri's Fuhajin can also be held and charged as well. As a matter of fact, you can use all 3 kick buttons to hold and release them to use to your advantage. Also, there's other special moves which you can control the distance with this joystick, like El Fuerte's Tostada Press, or his Tortilla Buster. So Viper has some special moves that you can actually cancel or feint, I should say. So you can use it to fake out your opponent or bait them into doing something because they thought either you were going to execute a special move like this. So some characters have some special moves that actually initiate a running motion, and then you can input a button like Guy here, where you can input a run stop, a run slide, or a run overhead kick. Another example of this is El Fuerte's habanero dash. So Kuma is another Shoto character that I want to show you to note more differences between the different special moves. So Akuma has an air fireball along with his regular fireballs, and this is great for getting on your opponent or zoning out your opponent. Akuma also has a command red fireball that you can use, or Sakudensu, like this, but it is balanced out with slow startup time and slow recovery because it does not require an EX bar to cast. So another interesting note with different types of fireballs is that Goken can control the height of his fireball depending on which button he presses, allowing him superior ground and air zoning. Now Sagat has a low tiger shot and a high tiger shot to give him the edge in the fireball war. So EX special moves not only give you more invincibility or more startup or less startup I should say, or less recovery, they also change the properties so much that allows for juggle potential afterwards, such as Sakura's here, her EX Tatsu. For other characters like Goken here, his EX running palm is actually extremely important because he gets the bulk of his damage off of the juggle potential. Now some characters like Balrog here have some complicated special move inputs. Some buttons and some directions are actually very unique and serve a different purpose, like this. Hey dudes, that's pretty much it. I hope that I've been at least a little bit helpful, but again, if you have any questions, please leave them down below, and I'd really appreciate it if you go ahead and hit that like button, and please subscribe, because I got some really cool tutorials coming up, such as, you know, invincibility, what is a vortex, you know, how to focus attack, dash cancel. But I'm exhausted, I'm gonna go catch some Z's. I'll see you guys later. Peace out, man.
One of these days, maybe I hope to be